Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? I'm here with my special guest and co-host, Nick Lenz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
And tonight, we're following up with Anime Blaze with Rise of the Shield Hero Season 2.
Coming, I think, was like just 3 years after season one.
Mm, I, production-wise or series-wise?
I think I think release wise, it came because first season came out in 2019. I think this was. I'm guessing if COVID didn't get in the way, I'm sure the season probably would release in 2020
Mm,
or maybe in 2020. I think it released in 2022. I think it was.
I get it. I got you.
Yes, of course, the season is noteworthy for being the first season to not have Billy Kimmitz as Nafumi because it was passing between the seasons. This was the first season to have Stephen Fu replace him as Nafumi, one of two characters I know of. The other, of course, being Alice from Walk and Demon Square American, which in both shows he still plays those two characters this very day. And of course, he plays Nafumi on Isekai Quartet season 3.
Nice. Nice.
Mm-hmm. And unlike in the case of season 1, which was 25 episodes, this season is only 13. Why 13? Probably different schedule than the first season of the show.
Yeah, because contrary to popular belief, there are such a difference between shonen syndication or and light novel syndication. Well, seasonal, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Light novels, with the exception of My Hero Academia, the My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen are probably the only shonen anime that I, at least in my experience, that that when they went through syndication, were had a seasonal structure. Like those are the main two I know that are seasonal. Because most shown, especially when I was growing up, and Nick especially, depending on when he got on anime, in the 2000s, early 2010s, most if it got an international release, most of it would be it was they were following the standard cartoon Saturday morning cartoon 26 episode structure for the most part.
Mm-hmm. I, of course, been kind of more deep into anime since like 2017. I, of course, have seen some anime, not a lot. I'm mostly just seeing like what people our age have seen: Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, let's see, Card Captor Sakura, the original show. A little bit of Sailor Moon, the original show, not the recent one. I watched that years later. Trying to think what else. Oh, well, basically like GX, 5Ds, basically shows anybody our age grew up with. I watched those shows when so some when they aired, some when they didn't air. But in more popular anime, of course, also DBC as well. More popular anime, aside from DBC, I've been watching since like 2017.
Mm.
Yep, this one I got into in 2020. It I got interested in the show thanks to them popping up on Isekai Quartet. They popped up in season. I think it was in season 2 of the show is when they popped up, and that's when I got interested because part of that show I only had watched 2 of the anime part of that show, that being Overlord and Konosuba, and since then I've now seen all the shows part of that particular franchise, which I think anybody can find kind of weird that in the third season of the show they bring in Imminence and Shadow. An anime doesn't even stream on Crunchyroll; it streams on High Dive, and there were twice in the season where the dub got delayed, and I point the blame at the cast of Imminence and Shadow probably because they're on a different dub schedule than Crunchyroll is. But in the case of this particular season, it adapts from the rest of the season, book 6 of the light novels, picking where they left off in the previous season of the show, and they kind of, in a way, go from there, go the entirety of books 7, 8, 9, and they adapt pretty much the rest of book 10. That's what they cover in just 13 episodes, roughly about 3 full books and 2 half books.
Hmm.
just because.
Yeah, if we were to go as an adaptation, the light novel they go for the light novels pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I believe by the time season one ends, we're in. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. Season one covers up to volume six.
It covers the first 5 volumes fully, but book 6 they started to adapt, and then they also started adapting book 10. I'm guessing I think the rumor I heard the reason why because I think the show didn't know they were getting a season 2. That's why I
Okay.
started adapting those 2 books in particular. But it wasn't a full adaptation. It was sort of a partial adaptation, and introduced Nafumi's village, which in volume 79 the village does not appear at all. So they start up there in the show, and then they leave the village. Don't bring it up again until like the end of the season, the show, where the season is kind of broken up into roughly, I think it's like 2 or 3 story arcs. Because first we have basically the spirit tortoise. We deal with this thing, something that the first season never brought up at all. It's just, oh, we have this thing called the spirit tortoise, a Roman country known as the Spirit Tortoise Nation, and there is this woman Osted who apparently was the wife of the previous lord, except that was a lie. She's a familiar, and somebody broke the seal that basically unleashed the spirit tortoise. Which, if you don't know what the spirit tortoise is a giant turtle. It is basically the size of a freaking city. That's how big this damn thing is. It's got like a whole forest in the back of it, and it's as to why it's called a spirit tortoise. It's I think it's because of the species it is. It's one of the giant creatures of the world. It's something different than oh let's have random wave monsters that we had in the first season of the show. And this season they mentioned the waves, but nope, waves were on pause because we have the spirit tortoise and do the bow hero, spear hero, and the sword hero. Did they get involved in this? No, they choose to not get involved because they're not interested because they're like, we were brought here to fight the waves, not to fight some giant freaking turtle. And I'm like, well, also there's appearance also by Melty's evil sister. And she does nothing this season. Absolutely nothing. She has a little bit in season 3, but nothing in season 2. She is there at the beginning just to acknowledge the fact she's there, and she just mostly put her exploits are explained off screen in season 3 of the show. And if you're curious what the heck the spirituals with heroes were up to, well, off screen they explain the final episode. Oh, there was another round of wave monsters, so the hero is fighting out while Nafumi deals with the spirit tortoise. And he also gets up with army to deal with this freaking thing. And before we continue, this season was very infamous. People love the light novels. In that, the season adapt sequences in the light novels out of order because director apparently just didn't care because this is not the same director that sees the first season of the show. He did come back for season 3. He did not do this one. This is a completely different guy. Just randomly like, oh, Nafumi the woman, and they rearrange stuff out of the blue.
Wait,
For
wasn't this season released around COVID and everything got thrown out of whack?
let's see, I think
Because I want to say this season two and season three were back to back. I remember, but I know they were within the COVID years. But I want to say season two was released around 2020, 2019.
let's see. Season 2 was released in 2022.
Okay, so season two was the tail end of COVID.
Yeah,
Okay,
and season 3 came out like the following year.
okay, because I knew they were produced back to around the same time.
Yes.
But still, the production from what you're telling us, Nick, the production was a mess. At least for season two.
Yeah. And I did not initially know about the adaptations of Out of Order until I watched I think it was Anime News. He basically does like a breakdown of what was adapted and changed he brought that up during his videos that that's what happened with what he can tell by rereading the light novels. I kind of do the same thing when I watch these anime, like some of the ones there like for light novels. I go back and reread the light novels and see what was changed. I of course did that with ReZero because ReZero's Core One wrapped up today, and I basically been rereading what was adapted for the season of the show, and well, I kind of did the same thing for him, but I'm going to go into much detail as he does, but I go into enough detail basically to understand to tell people exactly what was adapted and if there's any changes per se. But at least for Zero adapts all the stuff in order. They never had season have that problem compared to this show. Animation wise, the series looks amazing. I would say it was a step up in season one. Do you agree?
I would say for the most part, yeah, it was a little out of order, but overall, it was an improvement compared to season two.
Yes, and it's discovered that the person responsible for this is this guy they meet, and he's working with Glass and her companions, though they're kind of coerced, and then they go inside the spirit tortoise. Well, you've been thinking into the spirit. Well, basically, they can go inside the body itself, not like the way you like inside like the blood channel. There's a cave and there's a cave inside the actual uh, tortoise itself, and they go inside. And Otis basically herself is sort of sacrificed to become a spirit of the spear, the shield hero Nafumi, and then our characters get transported to another world. Like basically, they go to the Glasses world, where basically they arrive in this sort of they basically chase the villains like and then they have this prison area where pretty much everyone is there. Reptalia is technically not there. They have her like in the actual world where her slave symbol starts fading because she actually later on in the season becomes the new katana hero of that world, and she keeps the sword when she goes back to the regular world. And they also bring up the Seven Vessel Heroes, which is later discovered that one of the Vessel Heroes is the former king of Melsmic, Trash. He was the spear. He was the staff hero. And as for the other heroes, they're on their way. They're in different countries, so they basically don't do anything at all. They do practically nothing. They kind of explore a little more of this in season 3, but in season 2, it's like they're brought up, but they don't really do anything at all. Sadly.
Hmm.
And then they meet up with the Hunter hero, who happens to be Glass's best friend. And because they describe what Glass was doing in their world, he's like, that is not like my friend. Of course, they work together and eventually got out of that prison. Of course, they have in that world. They eventually find Raptalia. Of course, she got some. She also dressed in kimono, not the stuff that she wear at the end of season 3, which was sparked events of season 4 of the show. But basically, different outfit that she's normally wearing. And she gets a new sword. And it becomes more better pace the second half of the season. But the first half was just all over the place. Second half was better. And Glass becomes a hero. And there hints the fact that the hunting hero, the way it's shown in the anime, it's almost like it's implied there's a bit of Yuri romance between the two of them, but they're just best friends. It's just how the anime presents it. Did you notice that?
It's been a while since I've seen season 2, but
Yeah.
I do remember. I mean, I at least recall that, but I don't think they're officially paired together later on. I think it was just for it was just their dynamic.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminded me. You know what? That's a topic for a different stream. But back to this. Nefumi, you could tell he grows into his own in this season. Like,
Mhm.
especially when he's finally cleared of his original crime. No, the trial scene with the queen, was that this season or the tail end of season 1?
That happened halfway through season one.
Okay, never mind. But I will say this is like, especially where we're going with Nefumi still expanding his party, and just lamenting about like he's more than just a shield. Like he actually starts applying melee and physical applications. Like he's more than just being a shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I do appreciate of the season that doesn't do anything with the spear hero, given how much of a creep he is.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that in season one, didn't we? Like,
Yeah,
didn't they try to give him a spinoff and it completely tanked?
yeah, it lasts like 3 volumes and had a manga adaptation. And I hope the guy that's not getting adaptation at all, because who would read about a guy who basically obsesses over a little girl? Answer: nobody. Nobody watch it.
One of these days, Nick, you're gonna get me demonetized at it, and it's
Yeah,
not gonna be within context.
but basically, but like I've never read Reprise the Spear Hero at all. I'm just it's not my high priority list to read. I and the weird thing is for the light novel series right now, they have not released a new volume in quite a while because they've only released 22 volumes, and the last volume came out, and all the volumes were released here, by the way. So if I can find here, oh, they've actually more than up to like 5 volumes now. That's interesting. So for the Rise of Hero, so the last volume released Japan June 25th, 2019, and released here in December 2021. That was the 22nd book,
Mm.
which is kind of interesting that the last book gets released. Let's see, look at this right now. Let's see. They released the last book. I think it was just after. Let's see. I'm looking right now for episodes. Let's see. It was released. Oh, that's interesting. So, the last book was released in Japan the same day the last episode aired for season one. So, in Japan, they have not had a new book for this series released in 7 years. And the only thing that still gets released for is the manga adaptation. I love the light novel series and hiatus. It's just that it's still publishing, but no new volumes. I find that weird.
Mm.
It's one of like a few I read where they just stop releasing the volumes for some reason. The other being Cautious Hero, without at least 7 volumes, and now the series that one is on hiatus. Do not know why that one's a hiatus, but that is on hiatus. Konosuba is wrapped up. Overlord waiting for the next book to come out whenever that does. Saga Evil is released. The book's waiting for their book to come out for that one. But Shield Hero, wow, no new book in 7 years. That's something. But by the end of the last season show, they adapt like at that point they adapt like almost half of the light novel, like over half of the light novels released so far for the series. Which we'll talk about that more when we get the season 4 of the show. So when they get back cores, they deal with the villains, and the season kind of wraps up in a nice little bow where Nafumu gets back to his village. Also in the season, I was rewatching it, that Risha, who was a wizard who worked for the bow hero, became one of Nafumu's slaves, but just increased her own power.
Mm.
Which she keeps that power. She's basically, as of currently, she's still kind of in a way has that seal, but they don't really delve into very much at all. She's not even in like. In case you're curious, she does not play a role at all in season 4. Like she's there at the beginning, but she doesn't do anything at all in season 4. She does play a role in season 3, but not season 4.
Yeah, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. But this season was story wise, way he presented it was fine. It just the adaptation was the problem. That was
Mm.
the really biggest issue with the season was the adaptation. was that stuff like I mentioned, the stuff out of order, and the fact director apparently just didn't care about preserving continuity. And watching the third season, it's like a director is purposely apologizing in story for what happened with this season two. It's like he's bowing every time. Like, I'm sorry for what happened with season two for 12 straight episodes, and season four is like perfectly normal.
Yeah, the best from what I've been able to research for this stream, the best I could tell you is that season two production was rushed, and like, I mean, it gets better. Don't get me wrong, but I would say we will review season four in time. But so far, season two is the weakest because of the pacing. Not by much, mind you, but if I had to give one critique for season two, it would be the pacing.
Yep.
What about you, Nick? How would you rate the seasons?
I would definitely think the season one's pretty strong. I also like season three and four. I would agree that the season is I wouldn't say it's a terrible season per se, but it's the weakest
Oh,
of the four season released so far.
yeah, yeah, agreed. I would say it's the weakest.
Mm-hmm. And of course, thanks to Crunchyroll, we actually got the season because the series did so well over here because in Japan this series bombed. The anime did, and apparently because it's so well here, we got this season and we got the next season of the show.
Oh yeah,
Season four, season four was a bonus.
oh yeah, Rise of the Shield Hero is definitely carried internationally. I would be the first to admit that. Like it did not from the numbers. Now I don't have any exact numbers, but at least compared to that season when which it debuted, it did not do as well as it could have in Japan. I'm not going to say it was a flop, but there was definitely low ratings. It definitely improved with streaming and international dubs.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me a second. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I thought you would have kept going. But
Yeah, I can't think of much anything else to talk about when it comes to season's show.
okay. All right. Now that we've deviated, we've finished our main topic. Do we have any official news on an update, or is it being expanded to another core?
For Aisha Hero,
Mm-hmm.
all as I heard is that we're getting season five coming um soon. No release date for it yet. I'm assuming at this point because it's not in the schedule for this year, it's probably coming out next year, maybe. But there's been just no confirmation about it at all. As when they announced season five, I wasn't all that surprised, given the fact that how season four went. And apparently there was a special committee to get season four off the ground after what happened after basically season three wrapped up. Because I don't know if the studio was even interested, but because of this special project, that they got season four off the ground.
I would surmise it. Well, congratulations all around to the
Yep.
production and crew who worked on this, bringing the show to light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course this is one of those rare shows where you can get season four because some are lucky to have one or two at most.
Mm-hmm.
Like manga ones, you can probably expect to get a few seasons, but light novel ones, be lucky if you get more than one or two at most. That's at four. But the highest is Around Chigo's Dungeon. That's really for a sixth season. Sixth. But no release date for that one yet. But that was
Wait,
probably,
Danmachi's getting a season 6?
yes.
Holy crap!
Yeah. Now, My problem with season 6 was that the season itself was really good. I'd say the first half of the season was really good. It's the middle point is where it was the weakest, but after that, it got pretty good afterwards. I got sort of arguing with somebody on Twitter about that when it comes to because they apparently don't trust the JC staff to adapt something, especially what happened with One Punch Man season 3,
Mm.
which because I'm sure you probably heard all the complaints related to season 3, like characters look stiff, or one character referred to as one frame man because he just slides down a hill in one frame.
Now, I do want to establish this. There is a difference between animation and art design. There is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's up, Najee? So if you're going to describe, oh, the animation was stiff, it's not fluid. Again, season 2, from a production standpoint, was a rush job. I would say, depending on the content, okay, this is a better example. Dragon Ball Super Episode 5. Now, that is an infamous episode from an animation standpoint. That is what happens when you prioritize a larger project and have a bunch of B and C listers from the secondary team on this gig, probably fresh out of art school. That's what happens when you rush an anime, excuse me, right after boost off the momentum of a theatrical release. Mm-hmm. I would not have commissioned Dragon Ball Super for a summer 2015 release right after Resurrection F. If it were me, I would have pushed for either fall or spring 2016 and save myself a couple of months and save my team a couple of months. Especially because I want to say it was Nick. You can help me with this. It was either One Piece movie Gold or One Piece movie Stampede that was in post production at the time.
Which 2015? That would have been Gold.
That would have been Gold. Okay, thank you. Now that they did clean it up a little bit with the DVD release, but that is bad animation. Alluding to what you're talking, as for Rise of Shield series in season 2. It was mostly the art direction was bad, but the animation was pretty much the same. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, but I would say it was definitely an improvement over season 1.
Like I said, better animation, just not good art direction because it was a rush job.
Yeah, and also the writing was all over the place. But not in terms of Crunchyroll when they for the dub. I was watching a couple episodes of it. That was fine.
Mm-hmm. But I think we got time. Well, this ended up being shorter than expected, but I think we got time for an extra topic. During the PlayStation State of Play, any particular titles you're looking forward to, Nick?
I don't play a lot of PlayStation per se, but happy to see what's there.
Okay. Have you heard about the God of War spinoff game, God of War Loud Free?
No, I haven't. I know about the God of War games. I just never had a chance to play them.
No, they recently announced it, but okay, that's fine. That's fine. But what have you been looking? What have you been watching these days?
Well, let's see. Well, I'm on break on my Toku stuff right now, where I finished up. But I'm on break from Kamen Rider Wizard, Kamen Rider Fives, and Senkaiger. About to start some anime really soon. I'm gonna read one more book, and then I'm gonna start watching some anime. The first one is gonna be an anime known as Simone Sample.
Simone Sample. What's that one about?
A guy, high school gets kidnapped, taken to an all-girls school, teach him how things are in the outside world.
Hmm.
Yeah. where these girls have no idea how stuff is in the outside world.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that first because, well, because Dallas Reed's in it. Why not? And I think it's an interesting concept, especially I saw a clip of it where the girl has probably never seen instant ramen before, and they're all in awe of something different what they're used to. I'm like, okay. And apparently, one of the plots I've read, I don't think I show. I'm hope they're probably going to mention the anime. Apparently, have tend to be gay because if you ever move on them, the staff would do something to one of his private parts. I'm like, that sounds. I'm gonna watch it, but good gosh, threatening a man's family jewels is not a good idea.
Wait, what?
Yes, they were threatening that. They were threatening to remove them. Not me, but the character.
I get it. I get it. But first of all, before we move on, I just want to say thank y'all so much for giving me the 320 subscribers. I truly appreciate it. I will make a proper special stream for the milestone. I just hadn't decided what the topic is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm currently at 554 subscribers.
Hey, you're almost at 560, man. Congratulations.
Yep, soon gonna be at soon could be 600. I would say I've getting more in the last few years than I have over the years.
Hey, you definitely got momentum going for you, man. I wish you the best.
Yep. Yeah. But of course, basically, well, I only have one anime coming out tomorrow because I caught all my anime they got released today that I've been watching, which are Zero, which are Rapid Core 1, Beginning After the End, Farmer Life in the World, and Reborn's Vending Machine.
Hmm.
Which Reborn's Vending Machine, Beginning After the End, both those two have got, after this week, about 2 more to go and then wrap up. Farming Life has got 4 left right now. Just 4 more to go, and then that season is wrapped up.
I'm surprised that one took off as well as it did, to be honest with you.
Or Born's Vending Machine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really got into it because it was such a weird concept. I mean, a guy dies, he gets reborn in the vending machine. They had this most recent episode about another guy who was reincarnation, except he was reincarnated not as a vending machine, but as a field.
A field of what?
Like food. Like he's basically dirt.
Oh, okay.
And apparently we have a snow girl who can communicate with him, and like Boxo, he's got full love interest. I'm like, wow. And also he actually can move his whole ground about like it's a creature. It's one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen.
I could thank you for the visual. Hey, thank you.
And like his love interests are the snow girl, a vampire girl, and actually like 3. The other one's like a leader of a place called Fortress City who is a woman named Jessica. And standing for Crunchyroll, they won't release the name of the voice actors of these characters. I mean, the Snow Girl, her name is out there, but not named Field. Nope. No for him. Demon Lord, who appeared in the episode, he's above the Nether Lord I have in the show. I heard his voice like, that's Rico Fajaro. I know that voice anywhere. But does Crunchyroll come out and say who it is? No. I don't know why. It's weird. Because I know I've heard a lot of these voice actors, a lot of anime before I can recognize the voice instantly. Anything with Farmer Life in the World, there's Angel in the show is voiced by Jade Saxton. But of course, not as bad as Crunchyroll, but High Dive would not release the info about that for some reason. I mean, at least with info about new characters pop up in the first couple episodes, but a new characters pop up afterwards, unless they announce it online, they won't say anything at all. I don't know, maybe an NDA or something.
It's possible.
They have a character named Pity, which I heard her voice. I'm like, that's Tia Ballard. I know that voice anywhere. But does Crunchyroll release info? No. I probably ask about it when I get a chance to meet her next Saturday.
Nice.
A store in my area. I'm basically going to drive there and meet her.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, never before, and been a long time fan of her work. I think like the first anime I heard it was probably Fairy Tail, voicing Happy. And she always has characters aside from Happy. There's always tend to be like very bubbly characters. Or in the case of a character from Black Summoner, a goddess who's a glutton. And she's so funny. At some point, she actually refers to herself as the main character's wife, despite the fact they're not actually married. Which I kind of found that so funny. The anime came out like 4 years ago. I watched it last year. Great anime. Loved it. And no season 2. Despite the fact there's still plenty of light novels. They only adapted the first 3. Surprisingly.
I'll check that out, man. It sounds like a real shame.
Yeah, I checked out like a lot of anime last year. I checked out like 50, I think it was like 56 to check out last year. This year so far, I've only checked out of new anime just 18, but there's going to be some coming really soon. Last I checked out was Princess Connect Redive, which for this one for some. Now I watched the first season; it was okay, but I heard the second season a lot better. And this is based on a video game. First time I watched based on a video game since Ace Attorney.
Really?
Yeah, that was the last one I watched where it had from an action video game. And of all the anime I checked out this year, pretty much all of them are fantasy based, except for like what would take place in another world. Except for like, there's the first anime particularly, which is Magical Index, which I checked this out because why not? But I've only watched the first season. I haven't had a chance to get back to it yet. So I got time. The show's been off the air for several years. So I got plenty of time. The other ones that do not take place in fantasy world I watch are Token Aki, which I think I heard is coming out later this year. There's Fudo Pi, the anime sequel to Commodore Double. That was really good. No season 2 for this one for some weird reason. Not sure why. And those are the only 2 that I know of that I watched this year that take place in the real world. The kind of in a way, Vermo and Gold, that kind of takes place in the real world too, but it's kind of a modern fantasy series because they have smartphones in the show. Which is weird because they have magic. Well, one of these shows I watched this year, High School Prodigies Have It Easy Even in the World. This was interesting because it's one of those series that sadly has like Billy Kemitz voicing one of the characters in the show. And it's like a group of high schoolers who have various positions in Japan. Like the lead character is the prime minister. And yet by the end of the show, 2 characters will be in love with him. One is an inventor. The other is an elf girl who's in the show. And her adopted mother has a thing for the businessman of the group. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But she's a peace woman. And the whole thing is they all want to go back to the world. By the end of the manga adaptation, they do. Which the season came out back in 2019. And another one of those where no season 2. Do not know the reason for it. Some of these ones. One I just randomly just found it on I think club on Twitter. A series called Mayu, which translates as Demon Lord, which all the characters wrote by different names, like no actual names. Like, oh, there's a character called Hero. There's a character called Demon Lord. There's even characters sent by Female Knight. I'm like, how about actual freaking names, people? And plus, also, this is probably the only show I've watched this year where not any streaming service. Somebody had decided to edit all 13 episodes as like I think like a 3-hour video on YouTube. Don't know why, but they did. It's one of the most random things I've ever seen. And it's so far the only one that I've watched that's on any streaming service. Everything else is mostly on Crunchyroll or High Dive.
Oh, that's a spam comment. That's a spam comment. Probably a bot. But excuse me.
Ad viewers in Steamboot? What the heck is that?
Probably a bot or a spam. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's on Twitch, but I have no idea what Stream Boo even is.
Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Yeah.
But quick upcoming news: Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, at least in America on the Shonen Jump app, releases tomorrow. Or tomorrow, roughly around between 10:30 and 11 a.m., depending on your standard time, depending on your standard time. So we'll probably review chapter 35 probably Monday or Tuesday to be depending on our schedules to be determined. Mm-hmm. That way,
yep.
the reason we don't do it same day is because we know how there's so much time in a day, especially when we have work, and it gives time to make sure both of us have read the chapter in advance.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you hear that it's been officially confirmed that Black Clover is officially coming back in October?
I was just going to get into that. Thank you. Yes, Black Clover is officially back off hiatus, and the first chapter release will be in October. Wait, is this for the anime or the manga?
The anime. The manga is wrapped up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I saw this thing online. Apparently, someone kind of revealed some ships where apparently Asta is with Mimosa. I don't know if that's really true or not, but it kind of makes sense. But if I were Asta, I would take both her and Noelle as wives because they both love him. And probably Rebecca as well because she likes him too.
Yeah, but hey, he's outgrown. Now, I heard a rumor that I don't know if this was ever confirmed in the series proper, but the nun he has a crush on, I'm pretty sure is his biological mother.
No.
Okay, because I heard a theory it was like a family member or sister or something.
No,
like that.
they confirmed toward the end of the series that the woman who raised Asta's little devil, that's Asta's biological mother.
Not the nun he has a crush on, but his mother was
the one who raised Ebi, the little devil that works with Asta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can easily tell that she's Asta's mom because she looks almost exactly like Asta.
Okay, thank you. Because, like I said,
they can't confirm that with what they imply that, and then the manga does confirm yes, that is basically his mom.
Okay,
but I do like all the I do like all the fact all the couples are confirmed at the end, like Yami and Charlotte, Gray and Goose, like that was kind of predictable. The most surprising one, I did not know that. As far as I can tell, Charlie had a thing for not the other guy she married and had 7 kids with. She married Rel, the captain of the Grey Deer.
Yeah, you could tell they were trying to wrap it up, which some things could have been set up better. No storyline, no series is ever truly perfect, especially when you factor.
As far as I can tell, nobody had issue with the couples. I didn't hear any complaints about it at all. Fennel ending up with the woman he was engaged to, that was predictable from the start. Yeah. But I would say the only one surprising to me was Charmy and Rel. That was only thing was surprising to me. Everyone else, I wasn't surprised about.
And that's the thing about anime. By the time that's the thing about mangaka or manga series. By the time you get to that point near the ending, you at least have the average mangaka, if they're not forced to wrap up due to cancellation, excuse me,
Mhm.
they'll at least give you some kind of payoff. Like, okay, here's some setup. See this who ends up with who, and just to wrap everything up in a nice little bow. The only ones I would say, this rarely happened, but they can get heated. There were never a whole lot of shipping wars. There were two major examples of shipping wars, and that was Sakura. I mean Hinata becoming the main snubbing Sakura for the main heroine slot halfway post pain. It wasn't even halfway through Shippuden. I think it was like right after the pain arc they adjusted this. They had that shift,
Mhm.
and
And the
Ichigo.
credit is showing that she was going to be his final. He was going to be love interest. She was going to be not Naruto's love interest all along, despite the fact that and a lot of people, even his wife, saw that was Sakura was better choice. Despite the fact that writing wise, no, Sakura was not a good
No,
choice.
they would not have worked. And yes, it's typical, the feisty, fiery heroine who constantly, berates the protagonist and calls him out. First of all, that's contemporary to the genre, but it's not realistic. And I can actually commend Kishimoto not only admitting that he has flaws with romance, but the fact that he actually went for something unconventional by having a kudere or shy, timid love interest rather than a feisty, nagging one, because that can be grating really quickly if it's not executed well.
Yeah,
So I will at least commend Kishimoto for what he was going for, even if he did get heat for it, including but not limited to his own wife. Now now the Bleach backlash, that one was ugly. I personally don't see why that got bad as it did, because
yeah. In my honest
You
opinion,
could
like
tell
anybody can
Ichigo
stop
and
reading the
Rukia.
manga. Like Ichigo never had a thing for Rukia.
No,
Never
they were
did.
they were they were buds. You could tell they were better off as friends. They might have had a few moments sprinkled here and there, but the closest one, Ichigo, is bland as they come. He's as far as the flat protagonist archetype is concerned, he's as flat as they come. And what little romantic inquiries he does get outside of gags with what's that black woman's name? I forget. Other than a couple of gags with her, he mostly
I think
flirts
it
with
was Yorichi.
Yorichi. Thank you. Other than a couple of gag scenes with Yorichi, the person you could argue he flirts with is Orihime.
Yeah, and Orihime had a thing from the start.
Exactly. Like that. I'm not saying, oh, they deserve to be endgame, but you could tell the setup was there. I would say between the big three, Kishimoto and Oda had the biggest rivalry as mangaka during their respective big three era when they were in publication around the same time. The mangaka for Bleach was kind of doing his own thing for the most part, but the real rivalry, at least from a fan's perspective, was between Naruto and Bleach. That was where the main rivalry of the big three was.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm not really a big fan when it comes to um, how it's sometimes how the Bleach fam is treated, where they're sometimes treated as sort of like the redheaded stepchild of the other ones.
Mm.
Now, I am a fan of Bleach, but I'm not part of the toxic fan community.
Oh no, no, no! You could acknowledge a piece of work and still give it critiques. But yes, Goku and Dragon Ball is the father of modern anime. We could say that we could debate that till we're blue in the face. But narratively, in terms of overall story, Bleach is the weakest out of the three. Narratively, it does have some payoffs. It's solid for what it is, and the anime didn't do it no favors because the original anime run was atrocious. I mean, the filler to canon ratio was god awful.
Yeah, and I know you've heard of Watch Mojo blaming that for the reason why the show failed.
Hmm?
Yeah, Watch Mojo put the blame on the fillers for the reason why the show fell apart. The show ended. No, that is not the reason why the show ended. The show ended because last season basically dropped in ratings.
Yeah, they just went ahead and dropped it.
And also because the last arc was so drastically different. And the thing is, here's the thing. That's from the manga. That's not filler. The last arc they adapted for the anime.
No, that is a direct manga arc. It's just dragged out and restructured in places. I mean, especially if you were going to adapt Thousand Year Blood War for the finale, you were gonna have to do a rebrand for One Piece. Excuse me, you were gonna have to do a rebrand for Bleach regardless, because the filler got so bad. Not that it's the sole reason, but the filler was a bit disjointed. Okay, I could rant about this all night, but I'll give a basic summation. Filler is what you use when you're trying to maintain the weekly standard Saturday morning cartoon schedule structure. It ends an opportunity for the manga to build more content to adapt of. Gintama explained the concept of filler perfectly.
Yeah,
Even
and I still need to watch the final movie for that one because that one adapts the rest of the manga. That one.
Wait for Bleach or Gintama.
Gintama. There's a movie called Gintama, the final movie.
Okay,
adapts the rest of the manga.
Okay, yeah, because I know Gintama didn't get another season. They just Gintama the final movie was kind of an epilogue, and they brushed everything together.
I'm not sure why they did that for. It was weird. Like, could they just do another episode? Because at the time, I think when the last episode aired, I think, as far as I can tell, the manga had already wrapped up at that point. So
yeah, the manga was
reason why they had to do that.
The manga was just about done, and the gap was so small. I'm not saying the gap was small enough you couldn't fit the remaining chapters in an OVA. I definitely would say a movie was warranted, but it was still a decent gap. I would say probably about 5-10 chapters left, give or take.
Yeah. And there's no reason why that they couldn't just continue the anime instead of do that weird ending of the anime and then just say, oh, wrap up the movie. And then apparently they decided to readapt an arc from the actual show, the one that had the underground city, which was a really good arc. I love that one. But I don't know why that one had to get a remake anime movie. That made no sense to me. You see that?
Your guess is as good as mine on that. Okay, with anime movies, they're either one or two camps. Well, technically three, but I count two of them as synonymous. They're either recap films or a standalone reconstruction of events, or that's similar that deviates just enough to warrant the project. For example,
in the case of One Piece, their movies are not canon to the anime.
No, their movies aren't canon to the anime at all. They are largely standalone. I think maybe one or two have been referenced in the main series proper, if that.
Yes, as far as I can tell, My Hero's movies are all canon.
Yes.
There's two movies for Super, they're canon.
Well, they're technically reduxed for the relaunch.
The Broly and
okay. I thought you were talking about Battle of Gods and Revival of Frieza. Okay.
Yeah, those two are canon to the show. The films where that's an occurrence in Slime, those films are canon. The most recent one they took place 3 episodes. I think it was like 74, 75 of the series, which airing currently right now. That's what I placed for that one. And the first one took place between seasons 2 and 3.
And believe it or not, with the exception of Blood Prison, that's the only Naruto movie that was canonized via Boruto, or at least was referenced. Well, maybe not the events.
Yeah, they changed the aspect of it where the Blood Prison, where in the movie the characters were allowed to wear their regular clothes in the prison, while in the show they wear regular prison uniforms.
Yeah, but they did say there's a Hozuki Castle too, so maybe I would have to. If I'm going based off the anime, maybe they expanded it after the destruction of the movie. They completely revitalized the place and did some reforms, and then built a second facility called Hozuki Castle 2. That's probably the closest you'll ever get to an explanation on this channel. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, and the whole thing with the movies themselves for Naruto, the only film that's officially been confirmed canon is The Last. That film has been confirmed. That's been confirmed canon for years.
Blood Prison via the anime for Boruto. Well, at least they repurposed the concept for that arc and The Last.
Yeah, The Last is officially canon. It's because it's really good.
It is. I'm not shopping. I will never say Naruto The Last is bad. I will never say that. My only fault with it is that the biggest hurdle, its biggest critique, other than the Tensegan and this misconstrued, misinterpreted prophet, really just a glorified dogfight for the third act, It's just the fact that it makes Neji's sacrifice and death narratively moot. Like you kill off a fan favorite, you kill off a fan favorite. He's obviously supposed to be a part of this big plot point for Naruto and Hinata to acknowledge, just persevere and acknowledge feelings for each other, and then you go straight to the last 2 years after the war, and the whole thing is essentially a retread. Get it leading up to the late Genjutsu.
Yeah, but what I read, that Neji's death pushed Naruto and Hinata together.
I mean, it was going to happen regardless. I would just say there's one critique I would give at the last. It makes Neji's sacrifice moot compared to its overall intention. It does water it down in context to a degree.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, basically, if somehow, because Kishimoto did say in an interview he was rushing through the war arc when he was scripting it, and if he had a chance to do a rewrite, he would have gone through with killing off Mike Guy with the 8 gates instead. He only killed off Neji because he was on a crunch.
And did you know that Watch Mojo basically blamed the fourth Ninja War as what killed Naruto Shippuden? And I'm like, no.
I would argue it's dragged out, but I would never say it killed Shippuden. The war was just
like but Watch Mojo. I know they get criticized, but yeah, for that,
no.
Yeah, I'm like, the anime ended the way it's supposed to end, anyways. It just.
Kaguya got the concept of the fable that leads to Kaguya and the Otsutsuki. The original fable was set up, got foreshadowing and set up, but not Kaguya herself in the Sage of Six Paths.
Which her appearance in the anime was a little bit longer than it was in the manga.
No, in the manga, it was about 2 volumes. It was only a couple of chapters. Like Zetsu's betrayal, Kaguya's reformed, and then they fight her. The anime really dragged it out. Like, for example, in the anime version, they made Kaguya and Lord Tenzo her lover, which is the father of Hagoromo Hamura. They made it like this tragic romance to where he was forced to betray her in the name of peace with a rivaling nation, and that leads to her casting the Infinite Tsukiyomi originally. Or in the manga version, at best, it was just a fling, and Kaguya just did what she was supposed to as an Otsutsuki and harvested the planet up to that point.
Yeah, and then she was sealed inside the moon by both of her sons.
Yep, because like I said, the anime makes you a bit more sympathetic for her because, hey, she was adjusting to this new land. She was betrayed by her lover due to political circumstance, and then she becomes completely disgruntled by humanity because of it. Whereas the manga version, she was just a titular Otsutsuki. She was, especially when you go into Boruto, to where she's doing her job, she harvests the planet, and then she ultimately becomes attached to humans through her sons, and then she wants to prepare Earth for the Otsutsuki's eventual retaliation. Tenzo does not play a role in the manga version of the flashback. Tenzo plays no role other than being the biological father of Hagoromo and Hamura. I don't even think he's officially named in the manga version. I think Lord Tenzo is an anime name, is a filler name.
I think so, because I remember him only referred to as simply the Lord of the Sage of Six Paths.
Yeah, that's Hagoromo. That's But yeah, in the manga, Lord Tenzo is not even officially named. He's just a random dude Kaguya hooked up with.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the one who became the Sage Six Paths, one who gave Naruto his
that's Hagoromo. Yeah, that's her son Hagoromo.
Yeah, which it's surprising he's still alive somewhat, while his brother is no longer alive. Because I think they mentioned that he was manipulated by Black Zetsu to basically turn. I think, if I remember correctly, he got the Sharingan, while basically the Sage Six Paths got the Byakugan, like his mom. And the one thing the anime manga never brought up is Naruto bringing up, like, I know someone with the same eyes. Naruto never said that either of them. I'm like, really? You're looking at Byakugan eyes, and yet you don't point that out.
You don't acknowledge it. Like, it's obvious the Hyuga are direct descendants.
Yeah, and I'm like, couldn't they just bring up, like, oh yeah, basically Hyuga descendants of us? I'm like, you could have brought it up in the anime. You could have brought it up in the manga. Never did. is one of the most weird, most baffling things related to the show.
Well, the Hyugas barely played a role. I mean, the Hyugas' relevance kind of peaked with part one and Predestination, and basically not only the mistreatment of the Branch family, but also Neji's resentment towards Hiyashi. Not only for his, even though his father willingly sacrificed himself to sell the ruse and make sure that Byakugan was sealed to get Hinata back, his father willingly sacrificed himself, and Neji just carried a grudge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he didn't have a point with how the Branch family was being mistreated. I'm just saying you're kind of taking your anger out on the wrong person. Either you're going to fight your uncle or don't.
Yeah, which they fixed that after the first tuning exam of the show.
Yeah. But Tevia says, okay, brand new. I did see the Spider-Man brand new day trailer. I'm not a fan of Gray Hulk. I feel like they're definitely going to try to force Savage Hulk back. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I will at least give it a shot.
I'm probably going to watch the trailer. I haven't watched the trailer, but hearing about Gray Hulk, like, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, and to answer your question, Tevia, the Uzumakis were wiped out in a joint effort by the 5 great nations. They were mostly wiped out. The only ones still alive afterward were Kushina, who was then integrated into Konoha and became Naruto's mom. Karin and her mother, who died as basically as a means to resuscitate and heal injured shinobi during the Shinobi Cold War after the Third Great War era. But I don't think they say how Karin's mother died. I think she just ended up dying at one point.
Yeah, and they never confirmed the end because Naruto with Karin, they've only interacted once the entire show, and that was their post-credit scene. When Sasuke, after he killed Danzo,
and fled the scene with Toby, Obito, whoever, and they were escorting her back for her interrogation.
That was the only time that they ever interacted.
And I don't think Karin made the immediate connection. She just acknowledged how bright and warm Naruto's chakra is. She never officially made the connection.
I kind of wish they would have basically just acknowledged it, but it seems like the only gets acknowledged is in fan fiction.
Because it's not really relevant. Yeah, you're my distant cut. Yeah, you carry the Uzumaki name. You're my distant cousin. But other than sealing techniques, what is there for you to really teach me? It would have been a nice touch, but it's not necessary to the story.
In a way, she's kind of in a way only, aside from maybe Boruto and Himawari, Karin is like Naruto's only living blood relative.
Other than his own children, yes. But as for Madara should have been the final, I'd still say you could have established the lore of the Otsutsuki and still kept Madara the main villain. I don't think you needed to fully release Kaguya to be the final big bad or snub him of that status, because all you had to do was just use the 6-path seal, separate Zetsu and Kaguya's power and all that residual chakra from Madara, and then just seal that essence away. Madara still would have succumbed from the massive chakra extraction. You didn't need to revive Kaguya and snub Madara as the final bout. Madara just became too OP and Kishimoto was in a corner.
Yeah, and also I think that Madara is supposed to be the series version of Frieza.
Pretty much, just not as racist.
Yeah.
Though, fun fact: Frieza is not racist in the sub in the mainline Japanese release. He does not resort to any monkey or derogatory terms. He's still a villain and an intergalactic business tycoon, but he's not a racist.
Yeah.
But Nagato. Yeah, Nagato. Well, yeah, Nagato is an Uzumaki, but we're talking about towards the end of the series. Nagato is Pain. Well, not the Pain persona, but it was really Nagato who preserved his close friend's corpse and made a puppet out of it.
Yeah, and like their home country, they after I think her name, the one with the blue hair, after she died,
Conan.
Yeah, all they mention is that the nation, the Rain Nation fell apart after her death somehow.
Power vacuum.
Yeah, and The one
And
thing that
congrats to
like the viewers do know about this, but the outside world doesn't know about it, the fact that, well, basically Nago is kind of responsible for the death of Hanzo the Salamander. But does the
yeah,
outside world know that? No, that part was never revealed.
yeah, and Hanzo was believed to be a tyrant. Or at least he was in deep cahoots with Donzo and Konoha by proxy.
Yeah, and some could say Danzo was indirectly responsible for how
The Akatsuki got corrupted.
yeah.
Donzo did play a role in that because he colluded with Hanzo for that ambush, which led to the death of Yahiko. But
Yeah.
originally, the Akatsuki were going to be freedom fighters and didn't want nothing to do with Obito or Madara since he had taken the might or strength of the persona. Originally, Yahiko was the voice of reason and wasn't going to do anything. But after he died, and then Nagato became disillusioned by the cruelty and pain of the shinobi system,
Mhm.
yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
Mhm.
I still say, okay, hold on. Speaking of Naruto and Boruto, I did play a fighting game, and that did explore a new story with pain. Yeah, that's for Boruto Naruto connections. That's kind of like an in between title. If we ever do get a Ninja Storm 5, Boruto Naruto connection would be considered a transition title or an in between title. But as for that game's story mode, it's good. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the time travel shenanigans, but I get what they were going for. Did you get a chance to play the game or watch a compilation of the story mode, Nick?
I actually own one of the Naruto games. I played a little bit, but I never finished it.
Okay, basically, it's during the before the five nations were founded during the Warring States period. An OP Uchiha was sealed away by by the Senju. Then in the present was sealed away, and then the present day they break out. Maris or Zero is pretty much kind of a Pain knockoff who kind of weaponizes her, and this rising, and they kind of use this video game as their front for a mass mind control campaign, and they nearly set off a fifth great Shinobi War. Now it does get undone. Maris is defeated, but there's one of three endings. One, the girl ends up sacrificing herself in the end. She's tragically killed off, and the true ending, where somehow through the intervention, it's implied but not directly confirmed, but through the intervention of Toneri, they're both time displaced back to the distant past the night she was supposed to be sealed, and then Boruto saves her. And then she goes, and then they prevent her from being sealed, and she goes on to help establish Konoha and live and pretty much flee to the deep countryside and live a normal life. But then the new timeline where they discover her journal and these archives, she references Boruto by name.
Mm-hmm.
His description, how he saved her and helped her get a new lease on life. And it's kind of like this cheeky thing to where that's the thing about time travel stories. You either can only go linear like Back to the Future or multiverse theory like Dragon Ball did. And I would say if you're ever going to do a time travel story, if you're, me personally, I'm a fan of the multiverse theory. That way, everything branches off, and you don't really have to consider all the pseudoscience. But that's a topic for a different stream. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree, but it's getting kind of late right now.
Yeah, same. Before we wrap up, Nick, any new projects or titles you got coming up?
Well, I got a review tomorrow for the penultimate episode of Doctor Stone, and probably some comic corners coming tomorrow. Maybe I'll start a new anime tomorrow.
All right. Wait and see. All right. As for me, of course, movies, game playthroughs, and just new content on the channel every day. We'll try to get the Mall Shadow Lord review by the end of this weekend. The original, I would have uploaded it sooner, but the video got corrupted, so I have to start over. And hopefully, I'll be able to catch Mandalorian Grogu in theaters before they take it out, because I believe that movie is bombing. So Hopefully, I'll be able to catch it in theaters. Otherwise, I would have to wait a month for it to go into streaming. But hopefully, it won't come to that. But
Same.
like, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all so much for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Flame off.